Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host Nathan B. Butler, the author of A Saga on Home Video, a fan's guide to US Star Wars home video releases, which you can find in its first edition form right now over on Amazon. If you want to check that out as a narrative history of Star Wars home video in the US, a second edition is coming later this year. If you want to get yourself a chance to get in the thanks for the second edition, then hop on over to my Patreon, patreon.com/NathanPButler. Over there, any of the different tiers, the $1, $5, or $10 tier, will get you a chance to have your name in the Patreon thanks page for the second edition of this book, and in our monthly project update videos. The $5 and $10 tier give you exclusive content like audio commentaries that I do, and monthly exclusive Q&A videos and whatnot. Okay, keep being told I need to mention those, especially on these big releases, but I almost never do, so there. I've mentioned the book, I've mentioned the Patreon, let's get rolling. So, looking at the stuff that's going on right now in the world, you would think that Star Wars would be our last thing on our minds, but we did have a big blast, a blitz of new releases here, so we do want to keep looking at them. Maybe it'll give you a little bit of escapism in a time of craziness around us. We've already taken a look at all the 4K individual releases of episodes 1 through 7 and Rogue One that came out on March 31st in the US. They are 4K, Blu-ray, digital combo packs. We also have taken a look now at all of the releases from the US of Rise of Skywalker in our previous episode. We'll continue looking at other stuff like the UK individual releases of Rise of Skywalker, the UK releases of Skywalker Saga. Notice I said plural, they have 3. We're going to be taking a look at a few things coming out of Australia, and we're going to be taking a look at a couple things coming out of Japan. Eventually, probably it'll be 9 episodes rather than 8, as I originally planned, to cover all of that stuff. Oh man, I just changed it to 9 from something lower. I sound like Lucas all of a sudden. I always meant for it to be 9. Right, George. In any event, what we want to look at this time is the Skywalker Saga set from the US, and it was exclusive to Best Buy. This is what it's going to look like when you see it on a shelf, if you see it on a shelf, because you can't get into the stores right now. If you do curbside pickup, like you're ordering food or something, it's what it'll look like. Take a look at what this flap says to give us a sense of what to expect from this package. So we start out, Star Wars up at the top. There is no bottom. This top flap notes it is 4K Ultra HD. It says 4K Ultra HD plus Blu-ray plus digital code. Some regions will be like this, some will not. For instance, the UK won't have the digital code. In Japan, there won't be a Blu-ray film disc from what I'm seeing on the images coming out of Japan at this point. It's kind of odd. That's why we're actually going to show those as different comparisons here. Then you've got only at Best Buy. We have images of product, items, 9 movie Skywalker collection, 1 complete set for the first time. Includes 27 discs, and an exclusive letter from Mark Hamill. Limited edition. The back, again, lays out your content here. The Skywalker Saga Collector's Edition, 1 complete set for the first time. I feel like I have to say it for the first time. Just like, one last time. And so on. Or see it again for the first time. Which is kind of what we're doing here, right? Because it's the 4K versions. Then over here, it shows our packaging. It says collectible outer case, collectible book, from young Anakin Skywalker's descent to the dark side, to the rise of the Resistance and their struggle to restore peace in the galaxy. The story of a generation comes to a riveting conclusion. The saga will end. The story lives forever. 27 discs includes 4K, Blu-ray, and bonus discs for each film, plus digital codes. Exclusive letter from Mark Hamill. Then lots and lots of cast crew information. Okay. Then digital codes included, your Movies Anywhere stuff, your legalese, your iTunes notice, the iTunes copies only work on iTunes, duh. Then you got your further digital information here, UPC symbol there, to give us a sense of what to expect. Now, this actually wound up being a little bit smaller than I expected. I expected something huge, like some of those other old sets, like the Definitive Collection Laserdiscs, something enormous to match the enormity of the fact that we're finally getting a 9-episode collection that we've been waiting for and hoping for since The Force Awakens, only for years it wasn't going to be possible because 20th Century Fox had the distribution rights in physical form to episodes 4, 5, 1, 2, and 3, at least through 2020, and had the distribution rights to A New Hope, episode 4, in perpetuity. Then, of course, Disney swooped in, bought a bunch of the entertainment assets from Fox, and so on, and here we are, I guess I should say from News Corporation, or News Corp, here we are, finally, with a boxed set of all 9, as we had hoped for. Again, smaller than I expected, kind of like Grievous, I guess, with Anakin. this is it. Now notice the Death Star here does not always perfectly align. It depends on how it is sitting. Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga. Why the Death Star for the Skywalker Saga? I don't know. You would have thought maybe Vader's helmet or something. Top is blank, bottom is blank, side is blank, side is blank, and the back only has a copyright. But this opens sideways. These do not pull off. If you pull them too hard, they might, but they're not meant to pull off. Each side slides out, and you've got your book underneath it with a little ribbon to help you pull it up, assuming you remember to stick it underneath it instead of on top of it, which I sometimes do. Take that out. I have taken the stuff that's usually inside the front flap and put it on the bottom inside so it can't get damaged. There is nothing underneath except for that ribbon. You have your digital codes. Again, it's a little bit different. Here it just gives you instructions about the digital codes and your typical back matter here. But it's 9 codes, so they put them all on the inside. And yes, these have all been redeemed already. All right, so Star Wars, your 9 digital codes. Again, same advice I gave if by chance you didn't watch the Rise of Skywalker episode right before this. And if not, why not? Come on. For what it's worth, I would suggest going and redeeming those at Disney Movie Insiders first. It does not seem to be blocking duplicates, so if you already bought like the 4K releases at the same time of, you know, episodes 1 through 7 in Rogue One, for instance, those 1 through 7, the code will still work and give you your Disney Movie Insiders points. Definitely then redeem your films, of course, I would say through Movies Anywhere, so it synchronizes to all your other accounts. We've talked about exclusive bonus features on different films before, so we're not going to spend the time to talk about that here. Suffice to say, the ones for Rise of Skywalker are mentioned in our Rise of Skywalker episode just recently. And otherwise, you may wind up finding yourself not really using the codes if you already have existing copies, because recall that even if you had bought the films from 2015 onward, you would wind up finding that those have been upgraded. But it should be that this code unlocks 4K copies, as does the ones from March 31st. Those two will clash when you try to redeem them for the movies. They will not clash when you try to redeem them for points. And as I said in the last episode, if I wind up with a ton of extra codes, I offer them to friends and family first through my personal Facebook page, and then if I have any left, I offer them to fellow collectors through the Star Wars Home Video group on Facebook. So asking me in the comments, sending me emails and stuff like that to try to get or buy my extra digital codes is a fruitless effort, and I don't have time to respond to every single person who is asking for that sort of thing. So blanket response here is they're already spoken for in some other way. Then you have the little letter. The only thing really exclusive other than the packaging for this set here, I've already seen this. I think Mark Hamill scanned it and put it online. Star Wars here. It's like quasi-transparent. It says, "What an extraordinary journey it's been." This is Mark Hamill speaking. Back in 1976, when Carrie Harrison and I were testing for our roles in what was then called The Adventures of Luke Starkiller, as taken from the Journal of the Whills Saga 1, The Star Wars, there's no way we could have known what an incredibly rich and imaginative set of adventures this obscure little space movie would launch, inspiring 8 more chapters to tell the entire Skywalker story. For some of you, that journey began with us over 40 years ago, inviting Star Wars into your lives from the seats of just a few dozen theaters in its first days of release. For others, you may have joined us somewhere along the way, from the harrowing saga of young Anakin's descent to the dark side in the prequel trilogy, or the introduction of an entirely new generation of heroes in the sequel trilogy. As Carrie once said, Star Wars is about family, and that is what we have all become. One giant community that shares the common experience of these stories and the fundamental values they instill in us. Whether you're a relative newcomer to the Star Wars galaxy or a longtime UPF, ultra-passionate fan, I'm deeply thankful for your continued enthusiasm and dedication to George's faraway galaxy, which will continue to grow with new storytellers, building an even bigger galaxy filled with heroes, villains, action, romance, and of course, the Force. May the Force be with you, always. Mark Hamill. And of course, product number and copyright down there at the bottom. Again, the new stuff here is the packaging. They did make a point, for better or worse, depending on your point of view, of not including any additional bonus material in this set that didn't exist elsewhere, outside of packaging and that letter from Mark Hamill. So if you're looking for extra video content, you won't find it here. However, at least for right now, there's kind of exclusive stuff if you're looking for stuff on disc. Okay? So, we have our big book. Star Wars The Skywalker Saga looks like it's made of metal. You've got the Falcon flying back there. That actually, you can see that from one of the Nova Media South Korean releases of Force Awakens. No real spine here, at least nothing on it. The back is just Lucasfilm, and again, so that faux metallic look that they've got going on. Then as you open it, you have A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, Star Wars, and then each film initially gets a 2-page spread, mostly concept art. Down at the bottom, it'll say The Phantom Menace, and it'll tell you, in this case, what the concept art is and who it's by. Then this side is regular. The other side has 2 notches in it for your film discs. When you take those film discs out, which, by the way, are just as much of a pain in the ass as back in the 2011 Complete Saga set to get them out without having to actually touch the bottoms, it'll actually tell you there what discs go where. So in this case, it's 4K Phantom Menace and Blu-ray Phantom Menace, right? So the 4K and the Blu-ray copies, both of the 2019 cuts that premiered initially on Disney Plus, are going to be in here. So I say that, remember when we looked at those 4K releases that are new on episode 261 here, 4K copy, 2019 cut on Blu-ray. And again, you can tell that it's a 2019 cut in the US at least because the title is at the top, not at the bottom, and a slight shift of the art. There is a version that looks very much like this with a 2019 copyright date, with a different product number, with the label, the logo down at the bottom, that was released back in September 2019 or its subsequent Walmart exclusives in October and November of 2019 that are the 2011 cuts still. But the ones in this set and the recent 4K releases are all the 2019 cuts. All right, so we go from The Phantom Menace to Attack of the Clones. I'm not going to show you the disc labels because we looked at those in depth back when we looked at the stuff for the 4K releases, except for a couple we're going to look at. We have Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, The Force Awakens, trying not to drop it, Last Jedi, we'll come back to Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, and after that, I'll stand up here so you can see it a little bit better, after that we get into bonus features. Each film has a bonus disc. It's the same bonus disc as in those 4K releases for the most part, as we'll get back to. So it gives us The Phantom Menace and then tells us what the picture is of. Attack of the Clones tells us what its picture is of, and then has the bonus disc for both of those films up top. And then again, a pair of films with their own images, and the pair of films bonus discs in the little slots. Until finally we get to Rise of Skywalker, and it has Rise of Skywalker images on both sides because it's an uneven and an odd number of films. That one has Rise of Skywalker's bonus disc just there by itself as the one oddity. Then you have your Starfield with your copyright, and done. Now again, what is in this set? It is the same 4K disc and Blu-ray disc for episodes 1 through 7 that you would have seen on this release that was simultaneous. Remember, that 4K release had the 2019 version of episodes 1 through 6, 4K, Blu-ray, digital, right? And Blu-ray included a Blu-ray copy of the film with the logo at the top, right? So it's the 2019 version plus the bonus disc for the individual films here. So these 3 discs, along with the digital code, are inside the packaging. That's for episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, episode 5, episode 6, right? So no big surprises with them. Now, I do want to look at Force Awakens briefly. The discs that are in this release of The Force Awakens are the ones that are in the Skywalker Saga set. But I made a mistake because I was just trying to zip through stuff to try to give you information fast for episode 261. The content that is on the discs in this, the content is the same as what you would have found on the Blu-ray film disc and Blu-ray bonus disc for the 3D Collector's Edition. So yes, it has the J.J. Abrams commentary. Yes, it has the extra featurettes that were originally exclusive to other platforms. However, they redid the menus. So the menus now match basically the other films. And then, of course, you got the 4K disc in here that was brand new. And along with that, they did update the labels, though I didn't think to even check because I saw that they were so similar and just immediately assumed it was the same old discs we've seen before. So I do want to give you a quick comparison of that real quick. So again, just as a quick label comparison, we are comparing to the 3D Collector's Edition. Obviously here you have a 4K disc, not a 3D disc or a DVD. But this was the original from 2016. This is the one that was released later in the year, replaced or supplanted the one from earlier in the year by including the J.J. Abrams commentary on it. Now, with the same content but with a new menu and a new label, we have this one from the 4K release and the Skywalker Saga set. Notice they have redone the logo there, and it's a slightly darker version of the image, and it's laid out similarly to what we saw with all the other recent Blu-ray copies from March of 2020. The same is the case with your Blu-ray bonus disc. They took the original Blu-ray bonus disc look, but then they took the bottom there and made it grayscale and changed the menu, but otherwise the content is the same. Alright, so far the Skywalker Saga set has episodes 1 through 7 in the same discs that you got on these, released the same day. What about the other two films? Well, for Rise of Skywalker, as expected, it is the exact same discs that you get with the so-called Ultimate Collector's Edition that is neither Ultimate nor a Collector's Edition, as I always say, right? So the 4K disc, the bonus disc, and the digital code, and the Blu-ray film disc as well. No changes. These are all designed to look like these other releases here, so they didn't need to change any labels or anything, okay? But what about Last Jedi? Because remember, Last Jedi and Solo already got 4K releases. And because of that, when they released 1 through 7 in Rogue One, day and date with the Skywalker Saga set in those 4K Ultimate Collector's Editions, Last Jedi didn't get one, nor did Solo. At least not in the US. We'll see that they did in Australia, and I actually have those coming, and we'll look at them in a separate episode here. So the question is, well, what exactly do we get for Last Jedi? Solo isn't included any more than Rogue One is. But Last Jedi is. So is it the same? Has anything changed? We may recall that this was the 4K release, the regular 4K release at least, of Last Jedi, right? The Ultimate Collector's Edition. It is the 4K disc, the Blu-ray film disc, the Blu-ray bonus disc, your digital code here. But if you bought Last Jedi at Target, you got those same discs in special packaging with a separate extra little DVD with the extra featurette Meet the Porgs on it, along with the exclusive packaging and little book and stuff with it. Meet the Porgs had not yet ever come to any other physical discs for those who bought Last Jedi. You could only have gotten it with the 4K release out of Target. That has changed, okay? For the Skywalker Saga set, they have reauthored both Blu-ray discs. The Blu-ray bonus disc now includes Meet the Porgs on it, so it is a different disc than what we had before, back in 2018. The film disc now also includes another viewing option. If you click play, instead of having a commentary as one of the regular options, you click play, and now you got the regular play and the commentary option, and a third, which is the score-only version of watching the film, where it's just the music that was only previously available as a digital exclusive. Okay, so they reauthored both discs, and both discs do look slightly different. This is your original film disc, which I guess by coincidence does have the title down at the bottom, like those 2019 releases did that we keep comparing the 2020 stuff to. This is the new one in the Skywalker Saga box set. It now matches the look of the other ones with the title up at the top and the way that the information on it is laid out. This one has the score-only option on it. This one does not. This is the original. This is the one in the box set. As for the bonus Blu-ray discs, this is the original. Image at the bottom in color, no Meet the Porgs. This is the new one. Image at the bottom has gone grayscale. Meet the Porgs is on it. Currently only available in the Skywalker Saga set. As for the 4K disc, they did allow it that quick play option now, so it's been slightly reauthored, but there is no commentary on it or anything like that. However, the disc itself can also be noted for a slight label change. This is the original. This is the new one. Primary change there, of course, being the fact that you've got your different setup to the logo at the top. You also have a different copyright date, different product number, and they slightly rearranged the order of some of the little symbols and stuff down on the bottom here. Okay, but all the Last Jedi discs did get reauthored, even if the changes were minimal, at least for the 4K disc. But the only way to get the new discs right now is in the Skywalker Saga box set. We are told by the digital bits that Disney has informed them that sometime in the near future, we will see a release that matches those other ones, those black packaging ones, coming for Last Jedi and Solo in the US. But it is not happening day and date with these. It has not happened yet. We don't know when it will happen. So if you want those updated discs, you're going to need to get the physical copy of the Skywalker Saga set, or you're going to have a little patience. So there you have it, folks. No new video content technically, because the stuff for Last Jedi was technically available elsewhere, of course. But a package here for the Skywalker Saga exclusive to Best Buy that has all the stuff from the episodes 1 through 7 4K releases that just came out, all the stuff from the Rise of Skywalker 4K release that just came out, and all the stuff plus more, technically, for now, of the stuff that you can get on the 4K release of Last Jedi. Though the extra stuff is just Meet the Porch, which you can get digitally, or through that Target release, and the score-only version that hasn't been on disc yet, that is still also available digitally as it has been previously. So no new content, just some tweaks to some discs or tweaks to some disc labels and whatnot. By and large, a safe set to buy or not buy, depending on if you have those other releases. Though a nice set to have it all together. Well, the only extra stuff, cool stuff you get with this is the packaging, the letter from Mark Hamill. Otherwise, if you can wait for Last Jedi, it's all stuff you could get elsewhere, which is both good and bad, right? Because it doesn't compel you to buy it, but at the same time also means this set in and of itself doesn't introduce anything new. As for the bonus features on all the different discs, we talked about that when talking about those individual releases, so we're not going to go into those here. We went through and detailed all of them for episodes 1 through 7 back in episode 261 when we looked at this set of releases. We looked at all the ones for The Force Awakens and Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker in their individual episodes here of the show for the US releases. I'm not going to take even more of your time to go through and look at that when it already exists here within the confines of the show itself. An interesting release, right? I would have liked to have seen some extra stuff or some new stuff or some exclusive stuff, but it is what it is, and it's nice to have the saga all together. Now, the fact that there's only one version of this in the US does make it a little pricey. There is no Blu-ray only version or DVD only version as we see in the UK. There is no standard version that's not in this special box for 4K. So we got to wait to see if something like that eventually, almost inevitably, comes to the US. But for right now, if you want the Skywalker Saga, it's the Best Buy release. And the Best Buy release is about $250 at this point if you want to buy it new. So do your curbside pickup or whatever at Best Buy. Pick it up as we did on release day. The only ones we actually picked up physically by going to the store were the Best Buy Steelbook for Rise of Skywalker and this. It was a seamless process at Best Buy. They are very efficient about the whole curbside pickup thing. But yeah, it is going to run you about $250, which I think, if I'm doing my math correctly, is about 10 rolls of toilet paper in the current climate. So, hoard up on your Charmin and do some trading, I guess, to pick this one up. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.